Hi there, Jeff here from the Wetsuit Centre, talking to you today about the Billabong Foil winter wetsuit for winter 2015 into 2016. So Foil has been the long-standing entry-level wetsuit for Billabong for the winter series, but has been sort of superseded now, or sort of underseeded, depending which way you look at it, by the Billabong Intruder, which is now the entry-level wetsuit at about 99 quid, which is a fantastic value for money. But next up on the sort of rung of the ladder is now the Billabong Foil. The Billabong Foil has become a much more technical suit in the last few years, becoming 100% super stretch, which is the type of neoprene within the suit. So previously, in previous years, you would have two different types of neoprene within one suit. The lower half typically being more of a cheap, abrasive and less flexible neoprene, and the upper body being super stretch. As time's gone on and it's become more and more competitive, more of the super stretch neoprene was introduced to the suit, and now the foil is 100% super stretch neoprene, and it's sort of mid-hundreds, 150 quid for the chest zip or back zip, which is really fantastic. So 100% super stretch, it's a 5'4" wetsuit, which means that it's 5mm thick on the lower body, around the core where you need more thickness, and 4mm around the arms when you need a little bit more flexibility. It's a good chunky 5 and 4 as well. Billabong don't sort of mess around. It's curled back there, but basically you get the idea. Nice thick wetsuit, and then on the wrist you've got a good sort of bit of chunk there, 4mm. Okay, so the foil, as I say, comes in a chest zip and a back zip, depending on your preference really. Same cost, so it's really down to you which you prefer. Benefits of a chest zip is the fact that you do not have a zip down the back of the wetsuit, which gives a huge more freedom of movement and flexibility through the back of the wetsuit. So you get a bit more flex basically. Also allows them to add a sort of smooth skin panel there as well, which is good to keep wind off the lumbar region. But the main reason is that it's better around the collar, so you have an unbroken seam around the neck of the chest entry suit, which means you're less prone for flush throughs and that kind of thing. Because obviously with a back zip you have a piece of Velcro which doesn't create a perfect seal around your neck. Downsides of a chest zip is the fact that it's harder to get on because you've got to get in through the neck. There's a knack to it, but certainly for less flexible people, maybe bigger chaps, it can be a bit of a nightmare to get in and out of, and so a lot of people prefer to go with the back zip, which is a nice long zip down the back. You still get the smooth skin, which will protect your lumbar and back, and you get a back panel underneath, which then stops any water coming straight into the wetsuit, and that goes up and over your head. So two different entry systems, which I'll show you through in a second, but essentially the same wetsuit. So going through some of the sort of essential features that you need to know. All of the seams are pre-bent seams and bent seams to match the contours of the body. So an example of this you can see on the arms here. Seams bent around the sort of biceps and under the arms, so there's no seams under the arm, which gives you more flexibility through the shoulder, especially good for sort of paddling and swimming and that kind of thing. All of the seams throughout the suit are specifically designed to make sure they don't give you any sort of restriction, so the suit remains nice and flexible. So an example through the bum there's no bum seam to hold you back. The lumbar is designed in sort of a V formation, which gives you full flexibility through the back of the wetsuit. Everything's thought about. Over the shoulders there's no seams, so you've got loads of flex. On the outside of the suit, now you've got these smooth skin panels front and back, which are then lined with a thermal lining on the inside. What that does is very good at stopping any wind penetrating the suit, so it keeps those cold winds out of the wetsuit, which will in turn keep your core warmer, which will keep your blood warmer and keep your body warmer. Okay, so that's the whole way through the back and the front of the wetsuit there. As I said before, it's 100% super stretch neoprene. Further down on the suit, some of the things you typically get is a Duraflex knee pad. And that knee pad just basically slightly puffed out, locks your knee in and protects it. So any sort of wear and tear on the knee for duck diving, or if you're just clambering up on something in a boat or anything, it's just not going to wear through. Nice and robust, it gives the suit a longer shelf life. All of the seams are glued and blind stitched, which basically is essential in a winter wetsuit, which means that the suit is stitched halfway through from the outside and then glued on the inside, and you'll be able to see that, to stop any water coming in through the seams. And then in critical areas the suit is then taped with this sort of tape. And as time has gone on again, you get more and more of that taping, which reinforces the seams and stops any water coming in. I'll turn the suit inside out so you can have a little look in a second and see what's going on the inside. So the next thing that really is worth mentioning is the entry system. So obviously with the chest entry system, it's an in-to-out system, so you sort of slide it across that way, plastic zip. It's a PK zip, I believe, or no, it's actually just a Billabong's own zip, inside to out. So the downside of that is you've got to clip it back on, and it can be a bit of a nightmare to do when your hands are cold, but you get the hang of it basically. The chest zip panel goes up and over your head, and then the inside of the wetsuit is actually here. Okay, so that goes up and over the head. So that basically means that any water that comes in through the top of the collar, rather than going into the suit, is put into the chest entry system and then drained out through these drain holes, through at the side here, and then around the back of the suit you've got 2 drain holes there. Okay, so the chest entry system is like a sort of locks over the top of the wetsuit, if you like, to stop any sort of water penetration. Okay, so that's everything sort of going on with the chest entry system. You turn it inside out down to the hip, pull it on like a pair of trousers, up and over your body, and that's how you get in. We've got a separate video on how to get into a chest if you want to check that out. The neck then, so the actual collar, is a single lined collar. What we mean there is some wetsuits have 2 pieces of neoprene which are butted up together, which allows the outside piece to move independently, which stops so much of a rash on your neck. But they can be a bit tight around your neck and some people find them quite restrictive. Good thing about a single line collar, it's very comfortable against your neck. This one's dipped to go under your Adam's apple and very soft and comfy. Downside is they can flush through a little bit easier, so you might get water into the suit a bit easier. So what I do, grab the back entry suit. Back entry then is just quite straightforward. Pull the zip right back. You've got the over the head system, comes all the way down, and then you get into it like a normal wetsuit. Grab this panel, pull it up and over your head, pull up your zip and you're locked in. But this will be a chance for us to turn the suit inside out and have a little look what's lying inside. Okay, so the Billabong Foil is basically kind of on par with other wetsuit manufacturers. The O'Neill would be like the O'Neill Epic. This is a bit more of a technical wetsuit. It's got to look like a bit more thermal lining, a bit more taping, that kind of thing. So probably maybe a little bit better for value for money. From that side of things, but obviously it's all down to fit anyway, so if you fit an O'Neill wetsuit better, then you're better in an O'Neill wetsuit. And the other suit would be like the Dawn Patrol on the Rip Curl side of things, and on the Billabong, well it's quite Billabong, the next suit up is the Revolution, which then becomes even more lightweight wetsuit, a bit more performance orientated, less panelling and stuff. So here we go, the suit inside out. You can see that you're getting a huge amount for your money basically. 100% super stretch of that grey neoprene, and you've got that full back panel lined with that polypro lining. And what that is like a fluffy material, and basically that sits against your skin and then traps warm air that's leaving your body and then insulates you with that warm air trapping in the material, but also dries very quickly because it's non-absorbent, so wicks water away from your body so you don't get too sort of cold and wet. But also dries out really, really quickly, so when you get back in the suit it should feel quite dry around these areas. So that's the whole back panel, and then around the chest panel as well. And then most of the seams you can see are reinforced with that yellow taping, so you get a huge amount of that tape the whole way through the suit. Really good. So that's pretty much everything going on with the Billabong Foil series. It's just a great wetsuit for the money. I think what's probably happened is over the previous years, maybe Billabong were left a little bit behind in terms of wetsuit technology and definitely reputation. I think that's probably due down to sort of manufacturing standards, that kind of thing. We definitely had more of the Billabongs back for warranty and for repair, and that kind of thing spreads. You know, people aren't impressed by the suit, they won't buy one of again, and then they'll tell friends not to bother. You know, and then those people will buy an O'Neill. That was a few years ago now, and for the last sort of few years, Billabong have definitely had a big sort of improvement in the wetsuit construction materials. They've moved, I think they might have moved factories, that kind of thing, redesigned the suits, redesigned the range. They've got the zipless stuff now, and these suits are now spot on, really good. We don't hardly get any of them back in terms of warranty claims, and the warranty's for a year, really well constructed, and because of that sort of starting a little bit behind everyone else, if you like, then you get a huge amount for your money. You know, for this suit, thermal line front and back, 100% super stretch, and a bat wing for 150 quid is incredible, really. So Billabong wetsuits, yeah, definitely back on up with the best of them, and the Foil is a great wetsuit for money.